kapangyarihan. Nasa iyo ang kinabukasan. Ikaw ay mangarap, ika'y magtiwala. Ikaw ang magwawagayway ng bandila. Ikaw ang simula.
Lapis may maaring mapupot,
Ngunit ang puso'y di mapapagod.
walang pangarap na di maabot.
Bagong bukas ang itataguyod. Huminga ng malalim, mga gamay iyong limutin.
Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Isang karangalan po na makasama natin ngayong hapon ang ating kalihim ng kagawaran ng edukasyon, Professor Leonor Magtolis Briones. Pilipinas, pasalubungan po natin muli ang ating mahal na kalihim ng isang masigabong palakpakan.
Ikaw ang simula. Gising na, bangon na, ito ang iyong tadhana.
Sound. And once again, may we request all our participants to please take the blue seats because we are going to start our closing ceremony in few minutes.
Bago na, ikaw ang simula. Mahirap bumangon, dala ng pagod ng kahapon. Nais lang magtalupong, sa una ng puso'y binabaon. Huminga ng malalim, mga gamay iyong limutin. Bawat pahina ay iyong pagdasi. Ikaw ang dagkitap ng ilaw sa dilim. Nasa iyo ang kapangyarihan. Nasa iyo ang kinabukasan. Ikaw ay mangarap, ika'y magtiwala. Ikaw ang magwawagayway ng bandila. Ikaw ang simula.
Lapis may
Sound check.
Ngunit ang
Hello,
puso
sound check,
di
sound.
mapapagod.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us all stand for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem to be followed by the doxology to be led by the Puerto Princesa City DepEd Teachers Choir. Ladies and gentlemen, you may now all take your seats.
Ng ilaw sa dilim, nasa iyo
Ang kapangyarihan
nasa iyo ang kinabukasan. Ikaw ay mangarap, ika'y magtiwala, ikaw ang pagwawagan.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Magandang hapon, Puerto Princesa City. Magandang hapon, Pilipinas.
All right, and we're back once again on the same stage. Pangatlong araw na natin to. The way we started it, our energy was oozing. I hope you still have the same energy as we had during our opening program. Once again, magandang hapon, kabataang Pilipino. Bigyan niyo muna kaming dalawa ni Sandra at ang lahat ng naririto ng isang masigabong palakpakan na may kasamang sigawan.
Yay! Wow! Yung energy level nung first day hanggang ngayon ay ganun pa rin. Parang mas lumakas ata kasi alam ko nabusog sila ng 3 araw.
Tama. At syempre, hindi magiging kompleto ang pagstay ninyo dito sa Puerto Princesa hanggat hindi nyo ulit ipinopost sa inyong mga Facebook account ang ating hashtag for today, hashtag Youth Belong. At we are very fortunate and blessed this afternoon because we have with us our Honorable Secretary, Professor Leonor Magtolis Briones. Magandang hapon po muli po, kabataang Pilipino, isang masigabong palakpakan para sa ating mahal na kalihim. Ayan,
Nakakatuwa.
Sandra. Nakakatuwa, Sandra.
Ang third day at closing natin, napaka-blessed. Kasi kasama natin si Honorable Secretary Leonor Magtolis Briones.
And of course, Sandra, even though we call this one as an ending, we believe, of course, that ending are beautiful beginnings. I mean, endings are beautiful beginnings.
Yes.
Diba? Alam na alam natin. And to spice up our energy this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together for a production number. Wow! What an explosive production number. Ladies and gentlemen, another resounding round of applause for these talented students of Puerto Princesa. Isang patunay lamang yan, mga kaibigan, na hindi nauubos ang lakas, ang talento at enerhiya ng kabataang Pilipino. Tama ba? Ganyan-ganyan din o mas hinigitan pa ninyo ang energy na yan during our opening program. Just like as Sandra, we hosted the opening program. We went to Mancom, to Luau Night, and now we're here at the closing program, still giving out our best for the Filipino youth.
Tama ka dyan, Sir Joey. Yung energy natin at energy ng mga bata at energy ng lahat ng kabataang nandito, hanggang ngayon, sobrang taas pa rin. Dahil syempre, tuwang-tuwa sila sa lahat ng mga naibigay natin para sa kanila.
All right, Sandra. And now, once again, we are a bit sad because your PYC journey has come to a close. Pero katulad ng sabi natin, ang dami naman nilang babaunin pag-uwi nila sa kani-kanilang mga paaralan. More than again, touring around Puerto Princesa, I hope you'd be able to practice and apply lahat ng mga natutunan ninyo mula sa inyong mga speakers, mula sa inyong interaction with your peers because you are all blessed. Diba?
Yes, nag-enjoy po ba kayo sa inyong 3 araw? Parang ang hina. Laksan natin. Nag-enjoy po ba kayo sa 3 days ninyo?
Yes!
Wow! And speaking of enjoyment, and now, let us all be amazed by how the PYC has thrived through time. So now, please direct your attention on the screen for the PYC journey.
Mga kabataan na nandirito from the different regions of the country. We are happy to have you with us for the next 3 to 5 days. Sa inyo pong lahat, maligayang pagdating.
Huminga ng malalim, mga agam-agam ay iyong limutin.
At the outset, please allow me to express our appreciation and gratitude to the organizers of the Philippine Youth Convergence 2022 for choosing Puerto Princesa as the venue of your convergence.
The huge platform that this convergence represents provide appropriate solutions and relevant opportunities to make education very much inclusive for youth, coming in from all economic sectors.
Lapis may maaring mapupot,
Ngunit ang puso'y di mapapagod.
Being here today is a blessing.
To meet other student leaders and to meet all the participants.
It gives us an avenue to have civil political discourse and civic engagement when it comes to discussing political ideology.
This is a vital platform for our student leaders to rekindle and revitalize youth participation in nation building.
And the Philippine Youth Convergence will be a working ground for the student leaders in building a nation or building an educational community which is accessible to all Filipino students.
Ikaw ang magwawagayway ng bandila. Ikaw ang simula.
Kaya ng kabataang Pilipino na umpisahan ang pagbabago. Dahil dito, layunin namin sa DepEd, sa pamamagitan ng PYC, katuruan ang inyong mga isip at hubugin ang inyong mga puso para palaguin ang inyong kakayahang makagawa ng mabuting pagbabago sa ating
Kapangyarihan nasa iyo ang kinabukasan.
Let us all work hand in hand towards achieving an equitable, accessible, quality, and inclusive education for all. And welcome to the Philippine Youth Convergence.
Bago na ikaw ang simula.
Totoo yan mga kabataan, kayo talaga ang simula. Sandra, that recapitulates the 3-day activity that we had under the first ever Philippine Youth Convergence. Maraming salamat po sa paglalaan ng panahon. Kitang-kita natin ang drive, ang power ng ating mga kabataan. Kitang-kita natin na talagang sila ang pag-asa ng ating bayan.
Tama ka dyan, Sir Joey. Naramdaman ko habang pinanonood ko, kinilig ako. Kasi ang dami mga nagpapalakpakan kanina. Nakita nila yung kanilang mukha kanina habang ini-interview. Sabi ko nga, kung lahat ng bata na nandito ngayon ay na-interview natin, mas makikita talaga natin yung nararamdaman nila kung gaano sila ka-thankful sa PYC 2022. Right, Sir Joey?
Totoo yan, Sandra. At siyempre, may tinatawag tayong last song syndrome. Alam nyo, yung tugtog na yan,
Yes!
when I was in Astoria, kinakanta namin yan.
Yes.
Kinakanta namin kasi iba yung recall ng mga ganito, iba yung tagos sa puso. Tama, kabataang Pilipino?
Sino ang na-LSS
Sa kantang to?
PYC theme song?
Sa kamay!
Okay, sige nga. Kahit konti. Saang part tayo na LSS? Sige nga, go!
Ano linya? Okay, laksan pa natin.
1, 2, 3, go! Baka mamaya pag-uwi natin sa mga bahay natin, ganun tayo, oo. Tapos tanungin tayo ng mother and father, ano kaya sasabihin natin?
Sasabihin nila, Mapa, ako ang simula. Diba?
Yes!
At huwag na natin patagalin pa. Muli nating isabuhay ang kanta niyan sa pamamagitan ulit ng pag-awit na magmumula sa Puerto Princesa City DepEd Choir. Come on, let's all clap our hands, everyone.
Mahirap bumangon, wala ng luha ng kahapon. Nais lang magtagumpong, sa una ng puso'y nakabaon. Huminga ng malalim, mag-aagang-magang may iyong libutin. Bawat bahina ay iyong bagtasin, ikaw ang dakitab ng ilaw sa dilim. Nasa iyo ang kapangyarihan, nasa iyo ang kinabukasan. Ikaw ay mangarap, ika'y magtiwala, ikaw ang magwawagayway ng bandila. Ikaw ang simula. mapapagod.
Walang pangarap, hindi mabot.
Bagong bukas ang itataguyod. Huminga ng malalim. Mga agam-agam may iyong limutin. Bawat bahina ay iyong pagtaksin. Ikaw ang dagidag ng ilaw sa dilim. Nasa iyo ang kapangyarihan. Nasa iyo ang kinabukasan. Ikaw ay mangarap, ika'y magtiwala. Ikaw ang magwawagayway ng bandila. Ikaw ang simula. Oh, oh. Oh, gising na, bangon na, ito ang iyong tadhana. Nasa iyo
Ang kapangyarihan.
Nasa iyo ang kinabukasan. Ikaw ay mangarap, ika'y magtiwala. Ikaw ang magwawagayway ng bandila. Ikaw ang simula. Oh, oh. Oh, oh. Bangon na. Oh, oh. Ikaw ang simula.
Wow!
Wow naman!
Muli, maraming salamat, Puerto Princesa City DepEd Choir.
Sir Joey, siguro hihintay naman natin ang dance steps niyan.
Oo.
Excited ba? Sino kaya makakapagbigay sa atin ng dance steps niyan?
Asik JB, baka naman magawa
Baka, no?
natin ang dance steps yan.
Baka mamaya, Asek, mamaya tinitiktok na rin nila yan.
Oo.
Yes! Diba? Baka mamaya, ha?
I know that our young people here have their own TikTok accounts.
Yes.
Napakaganda ng recall ng kantang yan. Napakaganda ng mensahe.
Don't
Wag-
forget to use the hashtag para makita ng lahat. Yan.
Diba?
Gawin nating trending to. Tama, Sir Joey?
Correct. At saka pagdating nila sa kanilang mga paaralan, pagdating nila sa kanilang mga communities, pwede ninyong palaganapin, pwede ninyong kantahin ang kantahin yan.
Pwede nilang gamitin sa kanilang mga school activities, right?
Yes.
Ayan.
Alright, so at this juncture, a message will be given to us by the Governor of Ilocos Norte. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention on the screen and let us listen to Honorable Matthew Marcos Manotok.
Greetings to everyone at our Philippine Youth Convergence. Congratulations po sa lahat na nag-participate and to all of those who helped host this successful and fruitful event led by our dear Secretary Briones. Hope you're doing well, and my friend ASEC JV at sa lahat ng taga DepEd family po namin, greetings to you all. First and foremost, congratulations to all of our participants. Thank you for endeavoring in this event. And ang sabi daw, kailangan ko daw i-inspire kayo. But siguro all I can say is number one, explore and find your passion. No? Yun po talaga ang mahalaga kasi eventually we will all be in the working world. And napaka-importante talaga that you enjoy what you do. No? So find your passion, explore different things dahil bata pa po kayo. But eventually, find your career path. And then, of course, prepare and work hard and find purpose in your chosen profession. Number two, I would say, don't be afraid to be different. No? Embrace your uniqueness, embrace your weirdness, no? Don't be afraid to question things. Don't be afraid to be critical, no? Pasensya na po sa mga magulang po natin. But be curious and be yourself, no? Pinaka-importante sa lahat. And number 3, of course, with our dynamic world, talagang kailangan high-tech po tayo, no? At up-to-date. So we have to keep up with the trends. And although computers may eventually take over the world, humans will still run these computers, diba? So as much as we need these tech skills and these science skills, we also need people skills, diba? So hindi lang po IQ, but also EQ, our emotional quotient, our ability to communicate and talk to people and work with them. Kumbaga, ang social and soft skills na tinatawag po nila. But I'm sure you will all do great things in the future and hope to welcome you dito po sa Ilocos Norte, sa Saud White Sand Beach, sa Paway Sand Dunes, and our Bangi windmills to enjoy empanada and pinakbet pizza and bagnet and so much more. Please come visit Ilocos Norte. Congratulations to you all. Wishing my DepEd family the very best. Mabuhay po ang DepEd. Ingat po.
Thank you very much, Honorable Matthew Marcos Manotok. And this time, we will be hearing a message coming from the OIC Chief of the Youth Formation Division. Let's give a hand for Sir Rovin James F. Canha.
Good afternoon. Yung mga bata natin, kising pa ba kayo? Naalala pa yung chant natin nung Monday? Ala, wala nang nakaalala. Wait lang, itry nga natin. Kabataang Pilipino para sa edukasyon. Quality and inclusive education champions. Ikaw at ako. Yan, so naalala ba pala? Ayan, so thank you very much sa ating DepEd Central Office officials na pinamumunuan ng ating mahal na kalihim, Leonor Magtolis Briones, sa ating mga local government officials, sa ating DepEd Regional Office at DepEd Schools Division ng Puerto Princesa, sa ating mga guests, teachers, youth formation coordinators at kapwa ko kabataan, isang malugod na pagbati at mapagpalayang araw sa inyong lahat. On behalf of the Youth Formation Division, I would like to congratulate all our learner delegates, youth formation coordinators, and teacher advisors who attended this Youth Convergence, participated in the plenary talks, thematic learning sessions, immersion trip, watched the film Kulyon in SM, and developed the youth education agenda and other activities under our 3-day event. After 2 years of isolation and anxiety, due to the effects of the global COVID-19 pandemic, we have finally met face-to-face again, not only to socialize with our peers, but also to learn, discuss, and exchange ideas on how we can empower the youth movement. Being part of the youth sector, 25 years old pa lang ako, hindi lang halata, I share with the sentiments of my fellow youth with the importance of having our voices be heard. Bilang isang iskolar ng bayan, nahubog ako upang maging mulat sa mga suliranin ng ating kinakaharap sa ating bansa. Bilang isang lingkod bayan, aking natutunan kung paano dapat magtulungan ang bawat ahensya ng pamahalaan at parte ng birokrasya at lahat ng mamamayan upang bumuo ng isang progresibo at maunlad na bansa. At tayong kabataan, as future leaders of our society, we want to ensure that we have the maximum participation in the policy-making process and decision-making. Yan natin binuo itong Philippine Youth Convergence para maging tulay upang mabigyan ng boses ang ating kabataan. Sabi nga ng ating mahal na kalihim, it is about time we give importance to our youth. At hindi natatapos sa convergence na ito o pagsulat ng Youth Education Agenda ang ating walang katapusang pakikibaka. Ito ay magiging simula upang ating mapagtagumpayan ang isang learner-centric, quality, liberating basic education. Bawat isa sa atin ay mahalagang papel para sa adhikaing ito. At kami sa kagawaran ng edukasyon, lalo na ang Youth Formation Division, ay magiging kaakibat nyo upang maisulong ito. Gusto kong magpasalamat sa ating minamahal na kalihim sa kanyang suporta sa ating mga kabataan. Kung di nyo alam, lahat ng Executive Assistant si Secretary ay mga bata pa. At patuloy niyang ini-impart ang kanyang knowledge and wisdom upang magabayan kami sa tamang landas. Gusto rin magpasalamat sa ating kawaksing kalihim na si Juan Valeriano Respicio IV na sa kanyang pagsiguro sa ating kapakanan ng mga kabataan. Hindi maububuo ang convergence na ito kundi dahil sa iyong direksyon at pamumuno. Gusto ko rin magpasalamat sa ating host region at division, kay Regional Director Nick Capulong at kay ARD Suzette Medina, kay SDS Loida Adornado at ASDS Marites Perez sa inyong pagod, efforts, lahat upang mabuo itong Philippine Youth Convergence. Sa kabila ng ating mga suliranin, nakatatak na sa kasaysayan na nairaos natin na ang kauna-unahang Philippine Youth Convergence ay nasa Puerto Princesa at Region 4B, Mimaropa. Ako rin ay lubos na nagpapasalamat sa buong YFD at Youth Formation Coordinators mula sa region at division at sa parte ng aming technical working group na nagsilbing facilitators, maging sa pambansang samahan ng tagahubog ng Pilipinas, na kahit anong suliranin na ating kinakaharap, tayo ay nagtutulong-tulong upang magawa natin lahat ng paraan para sa ating mga kabataan. Kung hindi dahil sa inyong kasipagan at pagmamahal sa ating mga kabataan, hindi natin ito mairaraos. Special mention sa aking partners na si DP Santos at si Miss Divine David. Panghuli, ako ay taos-pusong nagpapasalamat sa lahat ng aking kapwa kabataan na nandito ngayon na tumitindig at aktibong nakikilahok sa pagtitipon nating ito. Aming nasaksihan first-hand kung gaano kagagaling, ang gagaling nyo talaga, promise, kung gaano kagagaling ang ating mga kabataan mula sa ating PYC conveners, NFSSG at student representatives, pati yung mga nasa breakout sessions, at doon ay pamalas nyo ang inyong galing sa pag-uusisa, galing sa pag-analisa at critical na pag-iisip. Muli, hindi natatapos sa ating Youth Education Agenda ang Youth Convergence na ito. Tayong mga kabataan ay walang sawang magtutulungan upang magkaroon tayo ng aktibong partisipasyon. Sorry. Ayan, nabubulol lang ako, sorry. At kayo ay inaanyayahan kong suportahan natin ang mga programa ng ating pabalaan at ng DepEd na tumatalima sa ating mga adhikain. Makakaasa kayo na kami sa Youth Formation Division at buong DepEd ay kasama ninyo upang suportahan kayo palagi at sabay-sabay tayong mangangarap para sa isang maganda at payapang Pilipinas. Hindi lang tayo basta kabataan, tayo ay kabataan. Tayo ang pag-asa at kinabukasan ng bayan, lagit-lagi para sa bayan, lagit-lagi para sa kabataan. Muli, maraming salamat at thank you sa pag-attend sa Philippine Youth Convergence.
Thank you so much, Sir Canha, for such an inspiring message. Muli po palakpakan natin our Youth Formation Division OIC Chief, Sir Rovin James F. Canha.
And speaking of galing, which was mentioned by Sir Robin James, at this juncture, let's give the time to the newly designated Youth Convener of the Philippine Youth Convergence for the lead convener testimony. Ladies and gentlemen, from Region 10, let us welcome Jumper Alexis Idulsa.
So I would like to greet everyone a pleasant day. So representation isn't merely about being present or showing up. It's also about actively listening, resistance, and speaking up for others. I am Jambra Alexis Idosa from Region 10, Northern Mindanao, your lead convener for the 2022 Philippine Youth Convergence. I know this is like a testimonial speech of my experience, but this isn't about me. This isn't about my institution. This isn't about my division. This isn't about my region. This is about the youth gaining representation and having a stand on matters directly affecting us, the learners. The 2022 Philippine Youth Convergence made me realize that as a member of the society, we have an ethical duty towards making a positive alter rather than grasping the present state. It has also opened my eyes, making me mindful and delicate of the problems of today's society. This will not be a one-man's job. I will not be working alone. I'll be working with the regional conveners and the convergence body in general. We will be utilizing this position together. One step at a time, we will be bridging the critical gap of global inequality. I believe our individual strength can get us through anything. But together, we can do so much more. Together, the youth will rise, the youth will resist, and the youth will raise the standards. Youth belong in the narrative. So to present the narrative, may I call on the National Federation of Supreme Student Government, the regional conveners, and the student representatives to present the youth education agenda of the 2022 Philippine Youth Convergence. The 2022 Philippine Youth Convergence, the youth education agenda with the theme Embracing Diversity, Achieving Equality, and Inclusive Education for All. We, the youth from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, bravely uplift our conviction and hold our will to provide volume and be the anchor of our fellow Filipino youth in addressing problems, easing struggles, appreciating individual differences, and promoting equality towards a progressive society. As the future bearers of the country, we aspire to inspire in the name of better education and collective youth participation. We do believe that the light will be extant and success will forever be in our hands.
With our problems on education, environment, child protection, diversity and inclusivity, leadership and civic engagement, digital citizenship, economic empowerment, peace and order, music, art and culture,
health and well-being and governance, our future is not yet secured and is far from our dream and aspirations. But one thing is for sure, these will not silence our passion to create a better education environment for all.
We commit to bridge the gap between the archaic and the new educational system by giving an avenue for youth network and empowerment through peer support in search for local and international academic opportunities, and accolades. We will advocate for various initiatives to address environmental challenges in the Philippine setting. We support movement that leads to academic improvement, crafting of environmental agendas and policies, sustainable way of living, environmental footsteps that encourage people to take their part in saving our nature, our home, our life. We commit to protect and prevent the most vulnerable child from different forms of violence, exploitation, discrimination, bullying, and all forms of abuse.
We will advocate the youth to be well educated with informations related to children's rights, child protection, inclusive education, online and offline safety skills. We will inform the youth to address their issues and concerns to reliable individuals or organizations that are well-versed in coping and dealing with child protection-related circumstances and challenges. We promise to give priority to the welfare of children, persons with disabilities, indigenous communities, women, and members of the LGBTQIA+ community, and all the vulnerable sectors in the community.
We call on all private organizations and institutions, such as media and influencers, national and international civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, and other local organizations to continue educating ourselves about the situation, rights, and other important information concerning the vulnerable sectors. We will use our voice to encourage our fellow youth to advocate for a just and better future, and support institutions and establishments that help and give importance to the welfare of vulnerable sectors, and integrate SOGI in the education system. We advocate for the full utilization of leadership roles in accordance with the real government structure and actions.
We advocate for the crafting of an annual and sustainable leadership programs as part of the school improvement plan that shall liberate leadership capacities and abilities of Filipino students. We advocate for the strengthening of education vis-a-vis authentic social ills that would awaken the students towards aiding the world in need. We advocate for the realignment of the subject media and information literacy as an application-based subject.
We advocate for the review of existing educational materials and ensure that the said materials are factual. We will commit to urge the Department of Education to establish accredited fact-checking system. We advocate for the strengthening of cybercrime and digital rights education to ensure information and empowerment among digital users.
We advocate for bridging of partners with relevant institutions to provide training opportunities to learners and hone their technical and vocational skills. We advocate for the continual upskilling and recalibration of technical vocational livelihood skills through a step approach increment of capacity development. We commit to ensure that there are safe spaces for their fellow youth to freely voice out their opinions, protect the youth from reckless endangerment, which can be in the form of violence, discrimination, and harassment, and help seek expert to support and assistance from appropriate and reputable individuals and organizations who are familiar with child protection, issues, and obstacles.
We commit to breaking the existing stereotypes against people who are interested and employed in the areas of music, arts, and culture. We will encourage individuals that would necessarily build larger number of interests. We will be embodying and bringing out more representations of the music, arts, and culture in different communities, regions, and other parts of the country.
We will value the efforts to capacitate all schools to employ qualified registered guidance counselor and registered psychologist to cater our needs and provide due guidance to help elevate mental health concerns. We will ensure continued mental health guidance through comprehensive mental health programs and accessible follow-up consultations.
We will support the integration of gender-sensitive, sexual health, and sexual rights education across relevant subjects in the curriculum, namely K-12 program. We will urge the Department of Education, also known as DepEd, Department of Science and Technology, Food and Nutrition Research Institute, or DOST FNRI, to procure local research produced from farmers for school-based feeding program, or SBFP.
We will advocate to reach the most possible Filipino audience, the right approach on information dissemination, and encouragement in participation shall be done by building strong relationships between the government and citizens. The government shall provide official platforms where different organizations can reach a common goal.
There should be thorough screening for public officials before being elected. Candidates with background on student leadership should be prioritized in selecting leaders.
As young leaders full of creativity, enthusiasm, energy, and compassion for the country, we commit to continue to be instruments of positive change in our communities. We also acknowledge that we cannot do this alone. We, therefore, call on our community leaders, all government agencies, public and private institutions, influencers, our parents, teachers, and guardians to join us and help us ensure a better and healthier Philippines. To all educational institutions, personnel, and stakeholders, we hope you too.
Create an avenue for the Filipino youth to become vocal with all of their concerns and their capabilities to address issues within their communities.
Provide us your full support towards development of the youth physically, mentally, emotionally, and intellectually, and make a child-friendly and inclusive learning environment that is genuine and aspiring for the growth of the students.
Educators are provided with the sufficient development, trainings, and education so that they can supply the students with a much higher quality of education. Also, listen to the suggestions and concerns by the student body.
Continuously and effectively portray the vital role of being allies in building the nation by empowering the youth and championing their contemporary cause.
To all private organizations and institutions, such as the media, influencers, national and international CSOs, faith-based organizations, and other local organizations, we hope you too.
You shall continue to commit in helping build the future of the Filipino learners.
You shall extend a hand to the department in providing quality education by sharing the strife and sharing the effort, and you shall provide firm, unbiased, and moral guidance in utilizing platforms in youth engagement.
You shall intensify the collaborative efforts with the public institutions in filling the gaps of the educational system by grassroots and localized efforts in addressing learners with special needs, providing aid in reaching far-flung educational communities, utilizing and collaborating with wide system, or any other way that, hand in hand with the existing system, may alleviate the problems of the Department of Education.
You shall provide a platform for students to maximize their potential in their respective job prospects through partnering with the Department of Education in giving ample exposure.
You shall metastasize factual and truthful information and use your power to promote safe spaces and healthy discussions on different social media platforms. And you shall acknowledge all ideas, opinions, and views of every Filipino.
To all government leaders, policymakers, and implementers, we hope you too.
Heed to the call of young people, for we know best of what we go through, and commit to an effective and efficient system founded on accountability, integrity, and the truth.
Establish a comprehensive plan of action and revision on policies comprising focus areas on the current curricula and educational training to teachers and students. Prioritize the sake of the children by performing humane legislations focused to their growth and development as foreseen collective hope of the nation.
Never tolerate growing discrepancies and call out actions which violate work of ethics in order for the sodality to be established under the reign of pure government.
To the Department of Education, we hope you too.
Give credence to the voice of young people. This is our fight, and our voice is worth listening to.
At all times, prioritize the well-being of the students. Beyond the system must be the welfare of our young people, and protect the institution in its mission to uphold service and continually push for quality and accessible education anchored on truth.
Review the curriculum in addressing the issue in an effort to meet the society's demand for changing 21st century workforce amidst the complaints of teachers and excessive workloads and ancillary services, especially in public schools, and the misalignment of work immersion and job and or career prospects of the senior high school curriculum. Craft an exhaustive recovery plan that covers contingencies that may affect the runnings and the curriculum of the department, such as, but not limited to epidemics, endemics, pandemics, etc.
Ensure that the solution will be research-based, data-driven, and needs-based to respond directly to the needs of the youth. Continue keeping their principles and values of believing the youth's potential and power to be the catalyst for the change we needed and desired.
Be active architects in the development and continue to be engaged in the framework and processes that support the implementation of initiatives.
To all our fellow youth, we hope to
utilize our collective efforts to be of help to those students who are academically challenged and with special needs, as the emergence of COVID-19 pandemic greatly delayed the advancement of learning progress among students.
Prepare ourselves to fight with great sense of responsibility and fulfill the duties and needs of a learner while in the midst of a post-educational crisis. Continuously voice out and partake in the society no matter how risky the challenges you may face in the future. However, you must be responsible and know your limits or boundaries on speaking out.
Serve the Filipino motherland in all forms of service, from serving in our communities and our localities to serving from the distance within the international sphere. The Filipino ambition remains to be resilient in adversity, united in diversity, and bold in intensity. An ambition for individual and collective actions towards a better Philippines for all.
that you will aid yourselves and your fellows in awaking each one's sleeping spirits, unveiling your passion, contribution to the Philippines education system, and hopefully, sooner than later, be instruments in transforming these proposals into reality for the benefit of all the generations to come. Dissent is the highest form of patriotism. We hope that you will seize every opportunity to challenge the status quo when necessary and support them when their beneficial plans for the youth are on the table. Because it is only by working together that we will be able to achieve a just, humane, working, and optimistic society based on the very principles of our most treasured education. Youth of the Philippines, hold true that the future is ours, never lost, and could always be reclaimed. Education should be a right, not a privilege. And so the system shall look into ways to avoid prejudice, discrimination, and injustice that stem from differing access to opportunities and privileges. As a united society, youth leaders should also embody the principles of leadership to drive administration obligation and ignite social participation to create social growth and continuously sustain the increasing needs of the people. We are committed to fulfilling our roles, and we are calling all our leaders and all Filipinos to ratify this agenda. Thus, we, the empowered and diverse youth from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, concerted in innovation, imploring the high standard of caliber of excellence. We promise, under oath, to work hand in hand towards the brighter future that we destined to enjoy. Join us and let us work together because youth belong. Thank you.
Those, ladies and gentlemen, are the voices of our youth today. Let us all give them a resounding round of applause.
Ang boses ng kabataan mula Luzon, Visayas hanggang Mindanao. This time, let us call in the Assistant Secretary for Youth Affairs and Special Concerns, Honorable Juan Valeriano C. Respicio IV, for the call to action.
Good afternoon to everyone. To our dear secretary, my direct boss, teacher, mentor, and the lola of every DepEd learner, Professor Emeritus Leonor Magtolis Briones, who just last night, ladies and gentlemen, was awarded the Presidential Medal of Merit for her outstanding service to the Filipino people. On behalf of all the delegates here today, ma'am, congratulations po. We also have with us from DepEd Central Office, the Director of the Bureau of Learner Support Services, ang dati pong humahawak sa Youth Formation Division bago po linipat sa akin, Director Lopez Santos. Salamat po sa pagpunta at pagsuporta po sa Youth Formation Division until now. Of course, special shout out to my kuya and MVP, most valuable partner sa hirap at ginhawa at sa anumang problema, Regional Director Nicolas Capulong, sir. And to, of course, Ma'am Loida, the school's Division Superintendent of Puerto Princesa City, ma'am. To our partners and speakers, nandito kanina si Mr. Lito Villanueva. We have also, of course, Ma'am Salve Duplito, Ate Angel Palma, and Myrus Ponon. Some of you I have gotten to know over the past few days. Of course, to our colleagues in the Department of Education and other government agencies, to our teachers, youth formation coordinators, and everyone here with us today, a pleasant afternoon to you all. Since I was tasked to deliver a call to action, which will likewise serve as a pseudo-closing address, allow me first to acknowledge and thank certain institutions and individuals who made the first ever Philippine Youth Convergence a reality. We have, of course, the DepEd Mimaropa Regional Office, headed by Regional Director Nicolas Capulong, and Assistant Regional Director Attorney Suzette Medina, and the rest of their wonderful, wonderful staff. The school's division office of Puerto Princesa City, headed by SDS Loida Adornado and ASDS Marites Perez. These two units of the Department of Education, together with the local government unit of Puerto Princesa City, contributed their time, efforts, and energy doing the groundwork to ensure the successful implementation of the event. They showcased the best of what Palawan has to offer, and we thank them not only for arranging the facilities, accommodation, and ground logistics for the event, but for enriching our experience even further with the spectacular display of cultural and artistic performances. Special thanks is likewise accorded to the Child Protection Unit, the School Health Division, the Public Affairs Service, the Information and Communications Technology Service, the Office of the Undersecretary for Legislative External Partnerships and Project Management Service and Private Education Office, and of course, to our valued partners in the private sector and civil society. Thank you for believing in us, the Department of Education, and thank you for believing in the Filipino youth. I would also like to acknowledge my favorite division, whom I have gotten to love over the past few months, and I hope they have gotten to love me back as well. The Youth Formation Division, headed by Chief Robin James Canha, who is of course a dear friend, and to all our project development officers and staff from the central office down to our field offices. Of course, to my close-in staff who have shared my burdens and who have seen me at my worst and at my best, DP, Diana, Carissa, JZ, Mela, and Vin, your competence and dedication to serve is noted and will hopefully be rewarded soon. Since I saved the best for last, to our dear Secretary Liling, who realized that it was high time for the department to focus on the youth and to address their needs more efficiently and competently. They are part of this convergence. They converged for you and with you. And I am extremely proud and grateful to my boss, my team, and my partners. When I was appointed late January this year, the Secretary gave me one simple yet complex directive. Take care of the youth. Now, despite being a young person myself, I acknowledge the reality that my perspective may be different from yours. My concerns are certainly different from yours. So my first order of business was to listen to you. First, we visited some regions. Then we organized virtual consultations with our student governments and youth formation coordinators. But then it hit us. This isn't enough. We should listen to all our learners and student leaders. And as has been repeated throughout this conference, the PYC was developed to reassess, realign, and refocus the department's youth initiatives to make them more responsive to the needs of the youth. The criteria for delegate selection was a deliberate attempt to ensure that all perspectives were represented and heard. And based from the reports coming in and the youth education agenda just presented now, I am extremely elated by the results. However, ladies and gentlemen, the PYC and the development of the youth education agenda is simply phase 1. This is the easy part. Ito lamang ang simula. What will come next will be more challenging as we try to reinvent mindsets, to show institutions, policymakers, and decision makers that your concerns should take precedence, that your concerns should be at the heart of policy, that your dreams should form the foundation of our nation's future narrative and should be distilled in the consciousness of the Filipino psyche. And for that to happen, your continued involvement will be a prerequisite. Continue raising your voice, continue asserting yourselves, continue being yourself and affirming to the world that you matter. Be resolute in taking your seat at the table and for you to belong to the conversation. As I went around the various venues the past few days, and as I listened to the intelligent and spirited discussions, isa lang po ang aking masasabi. Napakatalino po ng ating mga estudyante. Napakagaling po ng kabataang Pilipino. And it is not just your intelligence that I admire, but the convergence of your passion and your skills to be of service to the nation. Allow me to paraphrase what I said to you a few months back at the National Students' Day celebration. The bravery and boldness you have demonstrated today is a testament to the unbowed, unyielding, and unwavering commitment of the Filipino youth to utilize for the common good. As Rizal would put it, the impulse of your minds, your prepotent hands, and the refulgence of your genius. What you demonstrated the past few days not only makes me proud, but confident of the future of the nation and of our people. The Philippine Youth Convergence is but the beginning of this engagement. As we collectively look into the future, we must likewise take an introspective look and believe in our heart of hearts that change starts with you. That progress begins with you. And that immense power lies in you. Thank you for the opportunity to be of service to the Filipino youth.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Honorable Juan Valeriano Respicio IV for that very inspiring message. Sir, may we invite you there at the center stage.
To represent our Deputy Secretary, Honorable Leonor Magtolis Briones, we request once again Honorable Juan Valeriano C. Respicio IV, our Assistant Secretary for Youth Affairs and Special Concerns, to join us here on stage to give the plaques of recognition. Allow me first to read the content of the plaque. Republika ng Pilipinas, Kagawaran ng Edukasyon, plaque of recognition is presented to, in sincere recognition and appreciation of his invaluable support and generous contribution to the Department of Education during the successful conduct of the Philippine Youth Convergence 2022. Given the 17th day of June 2022 during the Philippine Youth Convergence 2022 held at Puerto Princesa City Coliseum, Puerto Princesa City. Signed, Juan Valeriano C. Respicio IV, Assistant Secretary for Youth Affairs and Special Concerns, and Honorable Leonor Magtolis Briones, Department of Education Secretary.
Flag of recognition is awarded to the host region, and this will be received by Nicolas T. Capulong, CESO 3, Regional Director of DepEd Mimaropa. Another plaque of recognition will be awarded to the host division, and this will be received by Dr. Loida Palay Adornado, CESO 6, OIC Office of the Schools Division Superintendent, and Dr. Marites Perez, OIC Office of the Assistant Schools Division Superintendent. And of course, we'd like to thank as well the host province, headed of course by the provincial Governor Honorable Jose Chavez Alvarez. Maraming salamat. And of course, the host city, palakpakan po natin, Puerto Princesa City. To represent the city mayor, we have to represent the city mayor, Lucilo R. Byron, we have Dr. Lloyd Apalay Adornado, CESO 6, and of course, the Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Marites Perez, OIC of the Office of the System Schools Division Superintendent. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, palakpakan po natin our host city, host division, and host region. Maraming salamat po.
Ikaw ang simula.
Mga kaibigan, palakpakan po natin Deped Mimaropa. Maraming salamat. It was history in the making. The first ever Philippine Youth Convergence was of course hosted by Deped Mimaropa.
Mahirap bumangon.
And of course, our host division, the schools division of Puerto Princesa City.
Magtalugpo sa una ng puso'y binabaon.
And the host city, of course, Puerto Princesa. Maraming salamat po muli sa ating action man, Honorable Lucilo Cecil Byron.
Ikaw ang dagkidap ng ilaw sa dilim.
At syempre, nagpapasalamat din po kami sa ating host province, ang Palawan. Maraming salamat po sa ating gobernador.
Ika'y magtiwala, ikaw ang magwawagayway ng bandila. Ikaw ang simula.
And at this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, since we are now on the thank you portion, tawagin din po natin sa entablado lahat ng ating mga naging resource speakers sa 3 araw natin na pagstay dito sa first ever Philippine Youth Convergence. Palakpakan po natin silang lahat. Ayan, we'll not be calling you one by one. So, doon po tayong lahat sa taas. All our resource speakers who are still present here. Mga kabataang Pilipino, sila po ang ating mga naging resource speakers sa 3 araw na ito. Let's all give them a resounding round of applause. And you all deserve, of course, not only this applause, but a photo opportunity with our Assistant Secretary.
Ikaw ang simula. Gising na, bangon na, iba ang iyong tadhana. Nasa iyo ang kapangyarihan, nasa iyo ang kinabukasan. Ikaw ay mangarap, ika'y magtiwala, ikaw ang magwawagayway ng bandila.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, palakpakan po natin our resource speakers in the 2022 Philippine Youth Convergence who have inspired our youth participants. And definitely, Sanja, their learnings will be transferred pag-uwi nila sa kanilang mga tahanan.
Thank you so much. Maraming salamat po. Of course, sa ating mga speakers. And this time, we are also calling all our regional representatives, our youth regional representatives, kanina, headed by
Ng kahapon nais lang
Jumper Alexis Idusa from Region 10 and the rest of the youth.
Alright, dyan muna po kayo because you will have a photo opportunity with our youth leaders dito sa may baba. Dito po tayo sa may baba. You will have a photo op with them.
For the turnover of the youth education agenda. And for this turnover, we are requesting, of course, our Assistant Secretary Honorable Juan Valeriano C. Respicio IV.
Ikaw ang magwawagayway ng bandila. Ikaw ang simula.
And of course, our OIC Chief of the Youth Formation Division, Sir Robin James F. Panha.
Lapis may maaring maputput, ngunit ang puso'y di mapapagod. Walang pangarap na di maabot, bagong bukas ang itataguyod. Huminga ng malalim, mga gamay iyong limutin. Bawat pahina ay iyong pagtasin, ikaw ang dagitap ng ilaw sa dilim. Nasa iyo ang kapangyarihan, nasa iyo ang kinabukasan. Ikaw ay mangarap, ika'y magtiwala, ikaw ang magwawagayway ng bandila.
And of course, maybe we'll now proceed to the turnover of the Youth Education Agenda. Ayan. May we request also our Honorable Secretary. Doon na lang po sa may unahan.
Simula. Mahirap bumangon, dala ng pagod ng kahapon. Nais lang magtalukbong, sa una ng puso'y binabaon. Huminga ng malalim, mga gamag.
Pilipinas, we are witnessing the historical turnover of the Youth Education Agenda. Happening right here at Puerto Princesa City Coliseum, Puerto Princesa City. Bigyan natin ng isang masikapong palakpakan.
Para po ito sa kabataang Pilipino. This is just the beginning of more exciting and great things to happen for the Filipino youth.
Sabi nga, ito pa lang ang simula. Sabi ni Asek, marami pa kayong pagdadaanan, marami pang hamon, pero tunay na mapagtatagumpayan. Mabuhay po ang kabataang Pilipino!
Wow! We are making history today, Sandra.
Bawat pahina ay iyong pagtasin, ikaw ang dagitap ng ilaw sa dilim. Nasa iyo ang kapangyarihan, nasa iyo ang kinabukasan. bukasan. Ikaw ay mangarap, ika'y magtiwala. Ikaw ang magwawagayway ng bandila. Ikaw ang simula.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we just witnessed the historical turnover of the youth education agenda. Pinamunuan, of course, with our Honorable Secretary, Leonor Magtolis Briones. Muli, mabuhay ang kabataang Pilipino!
Ang kinabukasan, ikaw ay mangarap, ika'y magtiwala. Ikaw ang magwawagayway ng bandila.
Muli, pinapasalamatan natin ang ating mga resource speakers na humubog sa ating mga kabataan sa loob ng 3 araw. Sana makita po muli namin kayo sa mga susunod pang PYC.
Ikaw ang simula.
Alright, after the photo op, our resource speakers are requested. Dito po ang baba natin to receive your plaques and souvenirs and tokens rather.
Thank you so much.
This Philippine Youth Convergence 2022.
Wow!
Muli, maraming salamat po sa ating Honorable Secretary as well as to ASEC JV. At syempre, maraming salamat to all our resource speakers. Thank you very much to all of you.
Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng nakasama natin mula day 1 hanggang ngayon.
And now,
ikaw ang dagitap ng ilaw sa dilim. Nasa iyo ang kapangyarihan, nasa iyo ang kinabukasan. Ikaw ay mangarap, ika'y magtiwala. Ikaw ang magwawagayway ng bandila.
alright, ladies and gentlemen, once again, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Lapis may maaring mapupot, ngunit ang puso'y di mapapagod. Walang pangarap na di maabot, bagong bukas ang itataguyod. Huminga ng malalim, mga kamay iyong limutin. Bawat pahina ay iyong pagtasing, ikaw ang dagitap ng...
Alright, so at this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, may we invite everyone to please settle down.
Nasa iyo ang kinabukasan, ikaw ay...
Because we'll be hearing a message that would come from the Secretary of the Department of Education. It's a blessing to hear her message. Folks, a big round of applause for Honorable Secretary Professor Leonor Magtolis Liling Briones.
Good afternoon. Magandang hapon. Maayong hapon sa mga bisdak. Maayo gud nga hapon sa iya sa mga Ilonggo. Nangalan sa Mindanao, kag sa Iloilo, kag sa Region 6. Daghang salamat sa mga taga Region 7. At maraming salamat din sa lahat na kabataang lider sa buong Pilipinas. I-acknowledge ko siyempre ang taga Luzon dahil ang aking asawa naman ay isang genuine Ilocano from Luzon himself. It is very appropriate that we started our rather long ceremony with the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi, wherein he prayed that we should be made instruments of peace and not instruments of dissent, instruments to relieve suffering, instruments to help others, and instruments to help our country. Thank you very much to the DepEd Chorale for choosing such an appropriate doxology for all of us. It has become a record of sorts in DepEd that I always start my messages with apologies. Either I apologize for being late, and I am late at this time, and rarely I apologize for being too early, and it does happen when I arrive also too early. I have had a very hectic 2 maybe months schedule since the start of the preparation for our transition. 2 weeks ago, I came from London, where I addressed 125 ministers of education and told them what is happening in the Philippines. I told them that whatever they have heard about the so-called crisis in education, about the closure of schools, I told them that these are not true. One, we never closed the educational process. When we had a lockdown, which was 2 years ago, we shifted to blended learning. We opened classes in October. And then this year, we opened classes in September. The learning process never stops. We have also been told that the quality of education of the Filipino learners is very, very low, and that we are at the bottom of the list. All those, and I dare challenge those who say that education is in crisis, to listen to the young people who just spoke, to listen to their views, to listen even to their accents, which we laugh at. I did not hear a single error in grammar from the students who spoke. There are many wonderful things that are happening among the youth, and which cannot be measured by assessments on students who are very much older than you. We are not responsible for the so-called scores in the international assessments, because the ones who took the exam are very much older than you are. These are the PISA exams and all of that. But what was more important when I spoke in London was that we have two very outstanding programs and another which we are going to strengthen. What are these two outstanding programs? During the plenary, I only spoke 3 sentences, which is very rare because my husband knows that I am capable of 3 sentences only as an introduction or as a prelude to a very long sermon. I showed a video of our Last Mile Schools program. Our program for young people who, unlike you who are here, are deprived of the opportunity to learn how to speak English, who don't have access to communication, and who have to make do with one-room classrooms for how many grades, and one teacher teaching how many grades. I also showed a video of what we are doing in the alternative learning system program, where those, again, who have to work at an early age and not have the blessings which many of you are enjoying, going to high school, dealing with teachers, debating with the elders, because they are unable to do so since they have to work. And this is in the alternative learning system. I was late because I visited one of the schools under the alternative learning system, which includes not only young people, but also adults. And in that conference of how many hundreds of people from different countries, when they saw the video of our last mile schools and what we are doing for them, when they heard the testimonies of those who don't have the opportunity to speak English the way we speak English, who don't have the opportunity to own a computer or a laptop or even a cell phone. When they saw these films, these videos, I did not have to deliver a speech because many in the audience wept. They did not know what we are doing, not only for the young people who are formally in school, but those who are out of the school buildings, those who are far removed from us, those whom we never see, those whose votes do not count because they are in classrooms of maybe 10 or 5 students, and so their votes do not matter at all. After arriving from London, and very fortunately, Cambridge University supported our research. Everyone, including Andreas, who oversees the PISA examination, showed a chart where the Philippines was at the bottom. And I said, I will not answer your observations. I will answer with these 2 videos. After that, there were no more questions. Upon arriving from London, I proceeded to Bangkok, where we had a meeting of ministers of education of Asia Pacific. And during that meeting, again, so much crying and moaning over loss in learning, because everybody, the mantra right now is massive learning losses because classes are not being held. And I debunked that theory, that concept, that impression. I said that even as we talk about learning losses, we must also talk about learning gains. Because under blended learning, our learners are encouraged to learn by themselves. Parents have to struggle with the blended materials that are distributed to them as they help their children. Local government units have to make food available, give donations, etc. Civil society organizations have to pitch in. Blended learning is not a responsibility, as many of us think, of the Department of Education alone. Education is a responsibility of the entire country, including yourselves, who are more fortunate, who speak better English, or able to tell your elders what you want, vis-a-vis those who are silent and who are unnoticed. We talk about learning losses and cry about them, but there were so many learning gains. For example, I'm going academic. How do you measure the achievement of a student? We measure their achievement, their performance by examination, by homework, and once in a while with consultation with parents. Now we are developing ways of assessing the performance of students. And also with due respect to our teachers, whom I love dearly because I come from a teacher dynasty. We have been giving a lot of attention to the plight also of our teachers. And all of these things are happening. Teacher makes the assessment. Now we are developing new ways of assessing student performance. For example, as I said, we measure by grades, we measure by examinations, and the child who does not have the capacity or access to all the toys and gadgets which you take for granted, and you have at least 9,000 schools right now where such kids don't have the same access, don't have the same capacity. And I came across, because one never stops learning, I came across a study which was discussed in England in one of the conferences. As teachers, with all due respect, I know I'm going to be excoriated for this, that sometimes teachers can cause the failure of students. It's a very extensive study which was done in Europe. And I think this is also a very good opportunity for us to further learn, not only in the traditional way, but also how to encourage our learners. Why do our learners fail? Why do they drop out? Aside from the usual excuse that they are poor or they don't have cell phones and so on. We have to grapple with the issue of identity, which we have always taken for granted, because we have always believed, as we are taught, that there are two genders. And in that conference, I said, look at the learning gains. Listen to these children, these learners who spoke out. They are the product of blended learning, and they know more than the average learner, perhaps, who religiously goes to face-to-face schools. So I said, we have many lessons. My second message in that meeting of Asia Pacific, and by the way, my proposal was included in the resolution of Asia Pacific Ministers of Education. I also said, and I'm sure this will resonate with our teachers, we have to look at the organizational structures of our department. We have a huge department with nearly 1,000,000 teachers, 28 million learners, and over 1,000,000 officials as well as clerks and employees. This is a huge organization, and decision making, as you will learn when you are already managing organizations, when you are already managing campaign, that organizational structures are very important. Again, this proposal, and Robin was there, was adopted unanimously by this conference of Asia-Pacific Ministers of Education. So you have a representative who brings honor to the country and does not confirm the idea that we are in a crisis. Just listening to all of you, and I ask myself, for Santo, where is the crisis coming from? Maybe it's not from the learners themselves. And when I returned from Bangkok, there were many other issues also to face. Because as you know, we are in a period of transition. And I have always believed as a former, as a Lola student leader, many of you do not know me at all. But many of you post and repeat observations that are made by those who do not know me at all either. Let me tell you in a few minutes how Leonor Magtolis Briones became Leonor Magtolis Briones. I grew up, like many of you, in a small town high school. I learned English in a very unknown, small institution who graduated from one of the best universities in the country. I grew up as a church person, and a church person always has responsibilities. A church person always has a model to follow. By the time I went to the University of the Philippines, I was ready to join the student movement. I was a member of the Council of Kabataan, which many of your mentors worship so fervently. And in the process, I learned what it was all about. I learned from my professors ideologies, which eventually showed perhaps that there are other alternatives, but such alternatives might also be very, very costly. At the height of martial law, I had just gotten married, and I was wanted, and I hid for more than 2 years. Try it, any of you, to be on the run from the military. I bore my first child, Poche, whom JV knows very well, in a hut surrounded by toilets, and where there were big flies zooming and hobnobbing about, flying about. I underwent what many of you look forward avidly, to be able to suffer, to be able to resist, to be able to do something. But we have to ask ourselves, what we are going to do, will this amount to any good at all? And so, as I listen to your declarations, if you don't mind, I'll make some observations. I listened very carefully. I have a habit of listening and talking to the person beside me, but I also listen with my other ear. And so I know what you are talking about. One thing that I noticed is that a very significant, we have to study very carefully and review very carefully your declarations. Because one, many of your proposals are already being done. It's just that the results are not yet visible. Like, for example, your effort to improve PISA, you don't get results immediately. Secondly, I also noticed, and this is natural, because you are different each from the other. You come from different ideologies. You were taught by your respective faiths and by your respective teachers, whom, at your age, you adored. I adored my professors, even until now. And I'm sure you also adore your professors. But at the same time, you question your parents. I noticed that not all of your proposals are necessarily harmonious with each other, which is, of course, to be expected. So we have to very carefully go through your proposals as well. And I was listening also to your suggestions as to what the Department of Education should do for you. And perhaps you had a few paragraphs in what you will do for the Department of Education. Don't forget what John F. Kennedy said about asking ourselves what we do, what we expect, what we demand for our country and our leaders and our elders. And at the same time, we have to ask ourselves, what are we giving in return? And so, I'd like to congratulate you. It is on this note that I congratulate you for this wonderful document. But perhaps we need an entire convergence to study each and every item. Because there are proposals which can be immediately implemented, but there are proposals which will take laws, for example. The assumption is that education is the responsibility, and I don't deny that, of the Department of Education, so that when a child does not know how to read, or who speaks terrible English, or who does not know who Albert Einstein is, we say, what is the Department of Education doing? We have forgotten mass media, which we watch, which is one perhaps of our most effective teachers. We have forgotten entertainment. And we have forgotten our elders and our leaders who, by their example, we tend also to emulate. I'm not washing my hands of the responsibility of the Department of Education. What I am saying is that education is the responsibility of society itself, including yourselves. So, also, I have noticed, again, we say the Department of Education is to blame. You do this, you do that. The teachers don't know how to speak English. The thing is, and you will learn this, you are in high school, you will be moving on to university. Some of you will be working. Some of you will go abroad. Some of you will become politicians. You know, as you mature, as you grow up, you will realize that it's society which educates you. It's not only the Department of Education. There will be many things. It's impossible for the Department of Education to teach you all that you must learn, to give you all that you need and what you demand. It is the responsibility of our lawmakers themselves who make the law. The other executive bodies, of society itself, of organized religion, of various organizations, they are responsible for what has become of education itself. And as I said, I'm not washing my hands because we have very clear mandate from the Constitution. But to blame education for the state of the English of somebody who speaks from a podium in the legislature, or somebody who writes a terrible essay in a newspaper, to blame it solely on the Department of Education. You will learn as you go along that you, and bear this in mind, I speak as not only as the Secretary of Education, because in 2 weeks' time, I will already be the ex-Secretary of Education. You will learn as you go along that much of what you know, what you will know, the wisdom that you will gather will not come from your school, will not come from the books. It will come from life itself. Take it from JV. Take it from all those who are already transitioning towards what they consider as their role in life. Education, formal education, cannot provide everything, cannot be blamed for everything. You will learn from your parents, from your political leaders, from your artists, from your singers, from your poets, from your performers as you go along. And you will educate yourself. This is very important. The greatest, the most important people who have made an impact on society and on their country, educated themselves. Of course, you start with what DepEd teaches you. But that is only the beginning. And so to expect DepEd to provide everything when everyday knowledge is changing all the time, when every day there are new ways of doing things, when every day the future is coming closer and closer, you cannot just rely on one single institution. You have to rely on yourself and also on your friends. It helps that you often talk with your friends, compare notes, ask, why is this happening? Why is that happening? Why are my parents like this? Why are our political leaders behaving in such a manner? Why are our values changing? Why are they different from us? And the answers are not found between the pages of a book. So if I might summarize what I am sharing with you, is one, you cannot get your education all from the Department of Education. Department of Education is responsible for basic education, and that is our concern. We want you to learn the fundamentals of science and mathematics, but at the same time, we don't want you to forget that you are Filipinos. You have been moved and you were excited, you were thrilled by the cultural performances. Each time I come to Palawan, I'm treated to something different. A different way of treating ballet, for example. A different way of treating music, for example. Of treating dance, or even of costume. Palawan is practically unbeatable in this aspect. Also, if it is possible at all, and I know it is not possible at all, and we're trying to work that out with JB, we have to expose ourselves to other countries, to other cultures, to other ways of thinking. Many of you, I know, are impressed with JV, But he has been exposed to Asian youth activities. He has been to Europe. He has been to many countries and has talked with fellow young people. And we want to create such opportunities so that even as we remain Filipinos, we know what the other young people across the globe and all over the world are also doing. So to summarize, DepEd can only teach you the fundamentals of 1 + 1 = 3. They can only teach you perhaps how to look at data, how to analyze, critical thinking and all of that. But you have to educate yourself along with your friends. And as Matthew has said, you have to be brave. You have to be courageous. In my own personal experience, as many of you who are already grown up and mature, you did very brave things in relation to yourselves. Perhaps you did not completely follow the paths laid out by your parents or by your teachers, but you have to find your way and perhaps even get lost occasionally. But you have your friends, you have your former teachers, and for those of you who still go to church, you have your faith. My parting words are, let us take a closer look at your program and your presentation. Find out what can be done as soon as possible. Find out what will take a law. By the way, you have to watch out for the emerging law on the Commission on Education, which will affect you as you go to college and even as you remain in basic education. You have to keep your ears to the ground. And at the same time, you have to settle personal matters. The matter of mental health, for example. We have been told so many times that young people take drastic steps with their lives and with themselves because they cannot stand anymore the module. Mayroon pang naglagay sa Facebook, anak ng very, very high official, apo pala, nagsabi, sunugin si Briones dahil galit na galit sila sa module. But of course, alam natin that a module does not shape a person. You shape yourselves. You set the direction for yourselves. And this is what many of you will do. It will be very painful. It will be very difficult. And it will be a really very challenging path that you will be taking. All of those who have succeeded and whom you adore and whom you admire, whether entertainer, politician, or writer, or artist, have gone through these kinds of crises. They did not blame the Department of Education. They just forged ahead. Thank you very much.
Wow, those are very inspiring words from our Honorable Secretary Kabataang Pilipino. Isang masigabong palakpakang mula sa ating mga puso.
Nais lang magtalupon sa una ng
Mensaheng talaga namang tagos na tagos at babaunin nating lahat, dahil malaki ang paniniwala namin sa inyo. Our Honorable Secretary, maraming salamat po sa mensaheng iyon.
Ikaw ang dagitap ng ilaw sa dilim.
Muli, bigyan po muna natin isang masigabong palapakan ng ating Honorable Secretary, Leonor Magtolis, Briones. This time, we are requesting our Honorable Secretary to stay on stage. We have a special seat for you, Honorable Secretary. Ayan. Ang sarap pakinggan nun, Sir Joey.
Sa mga kabataang Pinoy, yan yung sinasabi natin, that caps it all. Lahat ng ating natutunan, galing sa karanasan, galing sa eksperyensya, sa puso. Katulad ng sinabi ng ating kalihim, hindi lahat natututunan sa loob ng paaralan. Kabataang Pilipino, nasa inyong kamay ang lakas, gamitin natin ito ng tama.
Okay, moving on to continue a performance that showcases the culture of PPC. We will fill your eyes, ears, and hearts. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the PPC Cultural Ensemble. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the PPC Cultural Ensemble.
Nga labing Nga pag-abot di gisamong banwa, mga hinggagagman nga mga bisita. Kami alilipay nga kamo makita. Amos dayon kamo, di gisamong banwa. Sa indong pag-abot, di gisamong banwa. Masipang malipay, ginong malyagan. Mga matitinlong, mga palasyaran. Nga di gisamong banwa, lamang makikita. Resipyen nindo among alat kanindo. Mga sautik tugtog na durong kaligo. Amos mga tangay kita magkalipay. Di gisamang banwa, banwang pinalangga nga Puerto Princesa. Amos dayon kamo sa Puerto Princesa. Amos dayon kamo sa Puerto Princesa. Tuti, ara kami kanyugan. Si nanay, si tatay, perming pamagatnan. Ang tanging dadara, ungot sanda tunggan, ang gandang sumsuman, kugita subingan. Tuti,
tuti,
ara kami kanyugan. Si nanay, si tatay, perming pamagatnan. Ang tanging dadara, umot sanda tunggan, ang gandang sumsuman, kugita subingan.
Once again, thank you so much, PPC Cultural Ensemble. And to serenade our dearest secretary, here's a special song, Rosas Pandan. Please welcome Puerto Princesa City Depet Choir. Once again, here is the Puerto Princesa City Depet Choir's rendition of Rosas Pandan.
labing karaan nga gabo sa atong kabunturan. Tiring, 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 ay sa kong balitaw, manindot pamusayaw, kaya mo ng kabunglaw. Tigirong, 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 itaw sa sidudong natanaw, kaginday, nagkabisayang lawaw. Ay sa kong balitaw, manindot pamusayaw, kaya mo ng kabunglaw. Tigirong, 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 itaw sa sidudong natanaw, kaginday, nagkabisayang lawan.
Ang iyong si Rosis Panandigan may bakon sa kabubuhay. Yanig na nabingong ay humasang sa ulong ng kalingawan. Balita na yung kukunan na nagpili sa aking ilipawan.
Awit nga labing karaan nga gabo sa akong kabunturan. Tigiring, 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 ay sa akong balitaw, manindot pamusayaw, kaya mo nga kabunglaw. Tigirong, 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 itaw sa sidudong natanaw, kaginday, nagkabisayang lawaw. Ay sa akong balitaw, manindot pamusayaw, kaya mo nga kabunglaw. Tigirong, 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 itaw sa sidudong natanaw, kaginday, nagkabisay ang lawan. Ay, 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 ang lawan.
That was absolutely fantastic. Maraming salamat Puerto Princesa City DepEd Choir for that impressive rendition of Rosas Pandan. Napakahuhusay talaga ng ating mga guro. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Mga kabataang Pilipino, lagi niyong tatandaan yang mga yaman natin na yan sa Pilipinas. Bigyan po ulit natin sila ng isang masigabong palakpakan. From Rosas ng Pandan, here is another treat for all of you. This one is from the province of Marinduque. Nasaan po ang mga taga Marinduque?
Yes! Alam kong alam na alam nila to.
This is especially for our Honorable Secretary. We're going to do a putong ceremony. Putong, which is also known as tubong in some parts, is a ceremony indigenous only to the island of Marinduque, Philippines. Literally, the word putong means to crown. It is a song of thanksgiving, hope, and prayer for a long and blessed life, and held as a welcome or thanksgiving rite done through song and dance, wherein guests are crowned and showered with flowers for good health and money for good luck. It is also done during birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, or any special events that a person is thankful for and praying for a blessed path in life. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Marinduque's Putong.
Hello.
Narito po kami, mahal na may bahay, hinugtog na namin kasama nito'y marikit na palma, 10 ng bulaklak na kaaya-aya. Sama tayo ay sumulong sa loob ng bahay. Tayo'y nagpatuloy. Purihin itong aming utong sa may bahay na may piyesta ngayon. Kami ay dumating sa loob ng Jerusalem, ang mapunisan ka, ang nadatnan namin. Sa agad nakalagay sa Belen, diyan ipinanganak ang Mesiyas natin. Taonang ito'y malaon ng handa sa kapestahan niyo'y muling nabalita. Parito sa inyo ang sadya, korona'y ibuutong sa ulong sanghaya. Ang korona naming tangan ay bulalak, mandihing tunay. Tanggapin mo, puputungan sa ulo niyo'y sama iputong na ninyo ang aray sa kamay, korona'y sa ulo. Manawari ay makamtan ninyo sa maitiganan ang mabuong mundo. Mga angheles dito ay nanao, may dalang bulaklak na galing sa langit. Ang mga angheles dito ay nanao, may dalang bulaklak na galing sa langit. Ito ay padala ng Birheng marikit, sa harap ng santay aming ihahagis. Ito ay padala ng Birheng marikit, sa harap ng santay
pagbabahagi. Sabugan kita ng sampagat rosas, lirio at mirasol, 10 asusena. Sabugan kita ng sampagat rosas, lirio at mirasol, 10 asusena. Manawari habaan ng buhay at samat lang tao'y walang karamdaman. Di manawari habaan ng buhay at samat lang tao'y walang karamdaman. Viva, 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 mabuhay, mabuhay, mabuhay ang santang aming tinutungan. Viva, 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 mabuhay, mabuhay, mabuhay ang santang aming tinutungan. Viva, 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 mabuhay, mabuhay, mabuhay ang santang aming tinutungan. Viva, 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 mabuhay, mabuhay, mabuhay ang santang aming pinutungan. Viva, 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 buhayin, buhayin, buhayin ang santang pinutungan namin. Viva, 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 buhay, tapos na, karampatan namang umiyaw ng viva. Viva, 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 buhayin, buhayin ang santang pinutungan namin. Viva, 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 ito ay tapos na, karampatan namang umiyaw ng viva. Viva, viva, viva,
Maligayang araw at oras ng pagdating, bilang pasalubong sa gayot at bukirin. Tunay na ganap ang lahat na naririto, kurang makawit at saya, naman ang kaganyan. Maligayang araw at oras ng pagdating, bilang pasalubong ng gayot at bukirin. Tunay na ganap
Lahat na nariritong bulaklak ang nagaganyan. Isang oras ng pagdating, bilang pagsalubong sa nayon at bukirin. Tunay na galak ang lahat ng nariritong bulaklak ang nagaganyan.
Wow! That was Marinduque's Putong. Ladies and gentlemen, palakpakan po natin the province of Marinduque. And of course, maraming salamat, Dr. Nicolas Capulong, ARD Suset, together of course with the Schools Division Superintendent of Marinduque, Dr. Elsie Barrios, and the Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Mr. Felix Pamaran. By the way, yung pong mga nag-perform natin, sila po ay supervisors together with some school heads who traveled all the way from Marinduque papunta dito sa Puerto Princesa, kasama din ang kanilang CID Chief, Ma'am Lani Semilia.
Yes, paalala lang natin, sino ang nakakuha ng pera?
Sinong may nakuha pera?
Yes! Sabi po sa kanilang tradisyon at kaugalian, huwag po ninyong gagasusin ang mga nakuha ninyo. That's a sign of luck. Ayan.
That will
Itatabi.
bring-
So sa mga batang walang pamasahe, tiisin.
You
Huwag
have to
pong
keep that.
gagastusin. Okay. Sino ba ang mga nakakuha ng pera? Gusto niyo pa ba? Wala na!
You have to keep that, Sandra, because that will bring you good luck, more blessings in your life. Once again, to our Honorable Secretary, that was our way. That is one only of our ways of saying thank you for all your hard work for this department.
This time, let us pay tribute to our dear Secretary of Education through the song, Paano Kita Mapapasalamatan. Let us welcome Miss Heidi Corvu, a teacher from Palawan National School. May we request everyone to please rise and sing the song with us.
Salamatan sa puso mo, sa amin na ibigay. Ngayon lamang ako nagmahal ng sa tanang aking buhay. Sapat na ba ang ako ay mangako? Mananatili ka sa aming puso. Paano kita mapasasalamatan? Sapat na bang mahalin lang kita magpakailan paman?
Let's sing, everyone! Join us!
Paano ka namin pasasalamatan? Ngayon lamang ako nagmahal ng tunay sa tanang aking buhay. Sapat na ba ang ako ay mangako? Mananatili ka dito sa aking puso. Paano kita mapasasalamatan? Sapat na bang mahalin lang kita magpakailan?
Maraming salamat po. Napakaganda naman ang awiting yon. Sa amin pong mahal na kalihim, alam po namin na hindi sapat ang salitang pasasalamat. para ipahayag namin sa inyo ang laman ng aming puso sa lahat ng inyong mga ginawa para sa kagawaran ng edukasyon. Mula po sa amin, sa DepEd Mimaropa na pinangungunahan po ng aming Director at ng aming Assistant Regional Director, Honorable Professor Leonor Magtolis Briones. Maraming salamat po. At narito po ang ilan sa aming mga kasamahan upang ipahayag po ang kanilang pasasalamat sa inyo. First on the list, we have the Schools Division Superintendent of Palawan. We have SDS Roger Capa.
Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. Bilang Pangulo ng Philippine Association of School Superintendents, Mimaropa Chapter, hayaan po naming handugan ng pasasalamat ang ating mahal na kalihim, Leonor Magtolis Briones, sa kanyang mahusay, mabunga at tapat na pamumuno sa kagawaran ng edukasyon sa loob ng 6 na taon. At ito ay ibibigay namin sa pamamagitan ng isang tula na pinamagatang Salamat, Ma'am Liling. Nulaman ang sa kanya ay tingin at turing. Enerhiya'y nag-uumapaw, gayon din ang galing. Oras ay ibinuhos sa ngalan ng edukasyon, naging matatag na sandigan, kasangga at pundasyon. O aming sintang kalihim, sa mahal na kagawaran, reformang inilunsad, umukit ng kasaysayan, mga programa na nagsaalang-alang sa aming kapakanan, aming pagyayabungin at patuloy na alagaan. Guro at mga kawani ay pinanday mo ang kalaman at kasanayan. Tiniyak ang paglago nilang lahat sa kanilang larangan. O maging ang talino at talento ng mga mag-aaral, lalo pang pinaunlad para sa kanilang kinabukasan. Itinaas ang kalidad ng implementasyon ng kurikulum. Siniguro ang kahandaan ng mga pasilidad at classroom. Binigkas ng pagkakaisa ang pamayanan at paaralan. Respeto at kolaborasyon ay tunay na naramdaman. Iyong tanggapin taos-puso naming pasasalamat, umamliling na minamahal naming lahat, nangangakong sabayan, kami maglilingkod ng tapat. Edukasyon ng Pilipino ay patuloy naming iaangat. Saranggola at edukalidad ay patuloy naming ililipad. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, SDS Roger Capa. And of course, kasama po ang lahat ng SDSS and ASDSS ng Mimaropa Region. Palakpakan po natin. And now, to represent the regional office, we have Madam Mariflor B. Musa.
Ito po ay galing sa pangkat ng DepEd Regional Office sa pangunguna ng ating mahal at kagalang-galang na Direktor Nicolas Capulo. Para sa ating kagalang-galang na kalihim, Leonor Magtolis Briones, tinanggap ang appointment sa panahon ng Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte upang ipamalas ang galing at husay sa pagsisilbi. Talento'y hindi ipinagdamo, ibinigay buong puso at sarili. Para sa bansang Pilipinas, pagmamahal at malasakit ay di maikukubli. Pinagsilbihan ang kagawaran ng edukasyon, isinulong ang pagbabago tungo sa pag-unlad na layon. Hindi natinag sa dinaanang hamon na naig sa puso ang paglilingkod na misyon. Hindi inalintana ang pisikal na kalagayan kahit napakahirap ang trabaho'y hindi sinukuan. Sala-salabat na problema, hindi inayawan. Matupad lang ang nakaatang na trabahong makapaglingkod sa bayan. Layunin ang pagtulong lalo na sa mga kabataang naghihirap, sinikap at inayos, pagkatuto at pagtuturong dekalidad, pampubliko at pribadong paaralan sa buong Pilipinas, pinayabong, pinaunlad, karunungay, pinataas. Nanay Liling, tunay kang ina, isang inang mapagmahal at lubos na mapagkalinga. Iniisip mo lagi kabutihan ng bansa, kahit sarili, minsay, napapabayaan sa pag-aalaga. Mga tauhan sa kagawaran ng edukasyon, inarugamot, inalagaan, lahat na mag-aaral, guro, namumuno, magulang, hindi mo pinabayaan. Kasama sa paglilingkod sa Pilipinas nating mahal, sa loob 6 na taon, ikaw ay nagsilbing gabay. Tulad ng punong ng lang ang kagaya ng edukasyon. Ngunit ng iyong pamahalaan, ito unti-unting yumabong. Pinagsikapan, alagaan, diniligan ng panahon. Lumaki, lumago, sa kabataay, nagbigay kanlong. Maraming hamon dumating sa sektor ng edukasyon. Pandemya, bagyo, lindol at mga sakuna. Buong tapang mong hinarap, hindi ka nakitaan ng paghihina. Nagplano at umaksyon para ang solusyon ay maisagawa. Ang pandemya ay isa sa mga nakaapekto sa kagawaran. Pagtuturo at pagkatuto ng mga aral ay tunay na naapektuhan. Subalit ang kagawaran ay agad humanap ng paraan upang ang problemang kinakaharap sa pagkatuto ay masolusyonan. MELC's module, activity sheet, unang nagawa, ito'y ipinamahagi habang iniisip kaligtasan ng madla. Mga guro, magulang, barangay, munisipyo ay nagkawang gawa. Ang distance at blended learning ay tagumpay na maisagawa. Adhikain ng mahal na kalihim F2F implementers sa buong bansa ay lalo pang dumami upang mga batang struggling o may kahinaan umintindi ay maturuan at magabayan ni teacher ng mabuti. Sa panahon ng iyong pamumuno, mahal na kalihim, napakaraming proyektong isinagawa na sa puso'y naitim. Kapakanan at kagandahang asal ng mga kabataan ay pangunahin. Sandata nila sa pagtupad ng pangarap at mithiin. Mga guro sa paaralan ay naging panatag. Sa kanilang pagtuturo, mga kagamitan ay sapat. Mga mag-aaral ay inspiradong nagbuklat ng aklat dahil sa mga gurong may kalingang tapat. Sa iyong panahon, mahal na kalihim, tanyag ang programang iyong ibinahagi. Sulong Dekalidad, isa sa mga programang maipagmamalaki. Sakop ang lahat para sa pagkatuto ng marami. Sa kagustuhan mong lahat ay mapaglingkuran, Last Mile Schools program ay isinakatuparan. Kahit malalayong lugar, sila'y pinuntahan upang karunungan at kaalaman ipaabot sa lahat na mamamayan. Alternative learning system, isa rin sa iyong pinagtutuunan. Higit 1.3 million adult learner nakatapos ng kanilang pag-aaral. Nabigyan ng pag-asa at pagkakataon mapabuti ang kinabukasan. Matamis na tagumpay ang natamo dahil sa inyong pagmamahal. Maraming salamat, mahal na kalihim liling, kung bakit kami po ngayon ay napaigi at napabuti. Ito ay dahil sa iyong napakahusay na pagsisilbi. May malinaw na direksyon, tiyak walang mahuhuli. Kaya't magbago man ang mundo at panahon, kabutihang pinunla, gagantihan ng Panginoon. Sa puso ng mga Pilipino, may bughaw na dugo, tiyak ibabandila saan man dako. Mahal ka namin at inituring na isang ina, mapagmahal at mapagmalasakit, lalo na sa mga batang aba. Kalinga mo at paggabay ay walang hihigit pa. Kahit mamahaling ginto, hindi kayang ikumpara. Hinding-hindi ka namin makakalimutan. Sa puso't isip namin, ika'y mananahan. Kahit malayo, legacy mo'y iniwan, habang buhay gagabay sa pagtamo ng tagumpay. Maraming salamat po, mahal na kalihim liling.
Maraming salamat po, Chief Mariflor Musa of DepEd Regional Office. And this time, representing the non-teaching personnel of Mimaropa and SDO Palawan, may we have on stage Ms. Isabelita Sampayan.
To our beloved Mother, Secretary Liling, we thank God every day for your life because you are a mother who's so selfless, loving and compassionate. You are a fighting mother who endured the long hours during DepEd budget hearings in the Senate and Congress to ensure that DepEd's budget is approved. You are a strong mother, especially in the midst of the pandemic. You never really stopped. Even when you were tested positive for COVID-19. You are a tough mother because you faced all issues and never let them bring you down. You are an inspiring mother because you always ensure that all of us understand the beauty of hard work. Thank you, Ma'am Liling, for instituting educational reforms that are very much needed at this time. Thank you for having competent people in your team who are as hardworking and committed as you. Thank you for prioritizing the needs of our offices, from vehicles to laptops to SIM cards. Thank you for the strong support that you give to the schools division, and the regional office. Thank you for heeding the needs of our teachers and our learners. Thank you especially for not forgetting the non-teaching personnel and for considering our professional development too. Thank you for always looking out after our welfare. Walang hanggang pasasalamat po, Secretary Liling. We convey our love and heartfelt gratitude to you. Indeed, it is our honor and privilege to have worked with you, our Honorable Secretary. We salute and honor your commitment to serve. Thank you for leading the Department of Education in its ups and downs. It was indeed a brave, kind, but very firm leadership for the last 6 years. Your wisdom and experienced leadership ushered DepEd into its needed transformations. We, the rank and file and support staff, being the backbone of the department, offers you our support to be your physical frame to withstand the next pitch stop of your journey, and our care and compassion to fuel your energy as our token of appreciation for your efforts, ma'am. Receive our prayers and best wishes. We wish you good health and peaceful life ahead. Secretary Liling is an epitome of a spiritual leader, a woman of integrity, worthy of emulation. Secretary, ang aming pagpupugay po. We're so grateful to be led by such an amazing and brilliant leader. On behalf of 56,164 strong non-teaching personnel, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much po for enduring the race with flying colors. Your legacy and love will remain in our hearts forever. We love you, Ma'am Liling. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Isabelita Sampayan from the SDO Palawan. And now, let's have Ms. Marie Rose de los Reyes, Mimaropa PESPA President, together with Dr. Ferdinand Lagrada, Mimaropa PESPA Vice President.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Ito po ang aming tula, mensahe ng pasasalamat at pagpapahalaga para sa ating minamahal na Secretary Liling Briones. Anong laking karangalan lingkod nyo ay napabilang sa mga napili na atasan at nahirang upang mensahe ng pasasalamat at pagpapahalaga ilaan para sa ating minamahal na Deputy Secretary. Kaya naman po itong puso'y nag-uumapaw sa tuwa at kagalakan. Minamahal naming Deputy Secretary Liling, tila ba kayo ay isang bituin kung aking ihahambing sa galing at husay bilang isang kalihim sa pusikit na gabi, lalong nagniningning, nagbibigay liwanag sa gabing madilim. Mayroon man tumututol sa maganda mong layunin, ngunit nananaig pa rin, malinis mong hangarin. Pagkat sa iyong puso, nais mo lamang tuparin, isinisigaw nito at tawag ng tungkulin na makamtan at maabot ang mabuting likiin. Larawan ka ng isang matatag at malakas na pinuno. isang matibay na muog at hindi maigugupo. Pananaw mo at layunin ang siyang bumubuo sa paglilingkod na inilaan gamit ang iyong puso. Hindi kailanman ikaw ay sumusuko. Hindi man nararapat sa kapwa magkumpara, ngunit sadyang sa mga kababaihan, ikaw po ay naiiba. Sa haba ng oras ng pagtatrabaho, mga mas bata ang edad ay daig pa. Pagod ay hindi alintana, bakas sa mukha ang saya, huwara ng isang mabuting manggagawa, pinuno at lingkod pa. Kulang ang aking mga salita para ikaw po ay pasalamatan. Sa lakas ng loob at sa taglay mong tapang, hindi umaatras anumang laban. Kapag nasa tama, laging handang manindigan, kahit buhay ay malagay sa bingit na kamatayan. Salamat sa aming minamahal, DepEd Secretary Liling. Ang tulang ito'y handog namin sa iyo ng buong paglalambing. Damhin sa iyong taimtim na puso naming mga panalangin, gabayan ka nawa at samahan ng Panginoon sa bagong yugto ng buhay na haharapin. Pagkalooban po ng magandang kalusugan at patuloy na pagpalain. Magandang gabi.
Maraming salamat po. Once again, Ms. Marie Rose de los Reyes and Dr. Ferdinand Lagrada of PESPA, Mimaropa. This time, let us have the NAPSHI, represented, of course, by Mr. Noel Machon and Dr. Eduardo G. Santos. Mr. Machon is from Romblon and Dr. Santos is from PPC.
Good evening, everyone. Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. From National Association of Public Secondary School Heads Incorporated, Mimaropa Region, our authentic gesture of thanksgiving and appreciation to our dear Secretary of the Department of Education, the Honorable Leonor Magtolis Briones. Warm greetings to you, our dear DepEd Secretary, Honorable Leonor Magtolis Briones. On behalf of the National Association of Public Secondary School Heads Incorporated, Mimaropa Region, it is with pride and honor to convey our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to a very excellent and true leader of her time. Taking the lead of the largest department of this administration amidst pandemic situations and uncertainties might be the most challenging one. Keeping the department stable and firm amidst adversities has become your expertise. You have shown excellent leadership and management abilities which lead us in a clearer and brighter direction. You manifested deep concern and enthusiasm in all your endeavors. Despite criticism, still you continue to serve with perseverance and dedication, giving yourself, trying to be tolerant, giving recognition and approval to others, and remaining flexible enough to let others mature and learn. These things yields happiness, harmony, contentment, and productivity. You form habits of understanding people, being tolerant of others, being considerate, being willing and active in helping others and sharing with them. Commitment and resilience are indeed the key to success and fulfillment. Alan Loy McKennis once said, to be an inspiring leader, you do not have to be the smartest or even the hardest working person in the group. What it does require is that you be firm in your dedication to excellence, even it makes you temporary and popular. Leadership doesn't mean winning a popularity contest. Moreover, your innovations to improve the academic performance of the department is worthy of emulation for us school leaders. The wealthy experiences you have in administering public institutions enable us to surpass challenges in the hardest situation. The academic and professional competencies you possess contributed much to the success of distance learning implemented to keep the learners abreast with the quality education they must have. For you, time is significant and it should be used to be the best possible advantage to oneself, to society, and most of all, to God. Thank you for being the best manager you can be and a role model for all educators. Your brilliance and keen guidance have always inspired us to do better. The contributions that you have imparted are invaluable and irreplaceable. Your dedication is immeasurable. Thank you for your tremendous contributions to the Department of Education and for serving as an inspiration in the lives of the Filipino people. You have earned the gratitude of men and women throughout the department as a great leader in the fight for human decency and honest government. According to Daniel Thackeray, stay young at heart, kind in spirit, and enjoy retirement living. We wish you a life full of grandeur, and we pray that God will help you accomplish all your future endeavors. May God keep on bestowing you with all His blessings. We love you po, Madam, from the National Association of Public Secondary School Heads Association, of course, signed by Noel Joseph Marin Machon, the school principal of Ojonga National High School, the school of choice from the school's division office of Romblon as NAPSI Regional President. With me is Dr. Eduardo Santos as our Vice President.
Thank you so much. And now let's have Miss Karil Rain Padon from Palawan National School, PPC Division, to represent the SSG and SPG.
Good evening, everyone. As the representative of the youth here tonight, representative of the Mimaropod region, it is my greatest honor to read this letter from the youth for our dear Professor Leonor Magtolis Briones. Dear Professor Leonor Magtolis Briones, greetings in the name of student leadership. These past few years have been unfamiliar to us all. They come with a slew of uncertainties and new problems. As a result, on behalf of all students, we would like to extend our gratitude for everything you and your team have done so far for all the Filipino students. The unprecedented closure of schools have been difficult for all stakeholders, faculty, students, teachers, and support staff alike. But despite such circumstances, you have shown the courage to push boundaries. We, the student leaders, are also aspiring to build an educational community that always strive for the better of excellence in academics, leadership, and social responsibility. With the strained socio-economic situation affecting the majority of the students, imagining the normal soon seems a dream. Even in these desperate times, the involvement in the development and new methodologies done by the Department of Education displays the dedication and attributes to do what is best for the Filipino learners. No wonder your passion for service has been the guiding light of this journey. It reminded us, the student leaders, that having a vision, to not be afraid to take the first step and adapt to change, will propel us to a future where education is equally accessible. Your time in service showed us that the process of correction includes awareness and participation. It gives us the perception that as the topic is actively considered, while the talks advance, an ongoing conversation allows for a focus on the issue and can lead to innovative and adaptive thinking. This enables us to be better ready to take action should a position arise in which we can impact change. If we don't talk about something, it can fall out of the spotlight and lose its importance. You showed us that there's no harm in discussing the problems because we are all variables in finding a solution. Your time in the Department of Education has been the pioneering step towards development and dialogue. More dialogue about issues concerning the rights and welfare of learners were opened, not only in the education sector, but also in social, civil, cultural, and for that, we are thankful. But we can't just turn away from the flaws of this system. We, the youth, will continue to be loud as we can be, if that's what it takes to overturn this flawed system. The journey toward educational inclusion was also given focus. We are grateful for the dedication to addressing issues in the diversity of the students. Such steps become the epitome of promoting inclusivity and left a lasting impact on our system. This enabled us to receive an educational experiences. The Department of Education, during your service, has built a working relationship with students and student leaders, which serve as a working ground toward a value-driven and career-oriented youth community. Again, we would like to express our appreciation for your remarkable service. The contributions you made over the years have been valuable for all of us. May we continue to work together for the betterment of all Filipino learners. Always in service of the Filipino youth, I am Karil Rain F. Padon, the President of the Division Federation of Puerto Princesa and the President of the Regional Federation of Supreme Student Governments in the Mimar Operation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Karil. This time representing the PTA, we have Dr. Cesar Florentino Di Maala. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Mayad na gabi po kanatang tanan. Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat, lalong-lalo na po sa ating kagalang-galang na Secretary ng Departamento ng Edukasyon. Ito po ang aming alay, ang Palawan Parents Teachers Association Federation. Salamat sa sanag paglaom. Thank you for the light and hope. Leonor, Magtolis, Briones, DepEd Secretary, parents' voices were heard and recognized through Parents Teachers Association, a school-based organization that has a mission to make school an abode for quality education. Thank you for lighting an avenue by recognizing parents, effective role, and the progress of academic venue. Programs and trainings provided by the Department of Education are lights that are shining, like parents' initiative of sharing, giving their love for the schools that are shaping their children, future and admiration. Thank you for the lights of unity, where every hand holds as one, the light of peace, where every heart beats as one, brings the brightest light, the light of love. Love for the work, love for the teachers, and love for the children who are the hope of the nation. The love rooted in your motherly love is unselfish and boundless. Every success and every triumph are the showers of love. Love of a mother and a respectable leader that is strong with a heroic mind and heart. that is ready to conquer, ready to fight for the victory of the Department of Education. The power of pandemic never defeat the educational journey of every Filipino. Education must continue. Your powerful lines never let the Filipinos stop their journey towards education and a better future. You bring hope every home, every dream, and every future of the Filipino youth. The word of distance learning comes in an unexpected way that serves as the windows that give light and hope to the battling academic situation of the country. Thank you for the hope that was born even in the darkest ways, the hope that shines as glittering light of success. This is a victory. Your victory is our victory, and the victory of the nation towards an academic journey. Thank you very much. Even we know these words are not enough to measure your boundless services to the field of academia. May these words of thanks and appreciation from the heart of the parents and teachers symbolizes our love to you, dear mother of the academic world, a true leader that gives light and hope to the Filipinos. Matamang salamat sa Sanat Ipagpatuloy. With this, the Parents Teachers Association, PTA at the Division of Palawan, Mimaropa Region, extends our love through this ALAD, PTA, Alay, PTA, to the woman of service, hope and light. Sa Diyos, ang pagtayaw, ikay mayan. To God be the glory. Salamat po.
Thank you so much. And now to represent the private schools, may we request Mr. Joshua Buenaventura.
Honorable Secretary Leonor Magtolis, Briones, I am both delighted and elated to be speaking in behalf of the Puerto Princesa City Private Schools Association. Maraming salamat po sa inyong serbisyo. I can liken your visionary leadership to a Boeing 777 pilot whose competitive skills manage a carefully crafted flight from takeoff to a well-sustained leadership until today, an elegant landing. DepEd, being the largest government agency, carries the most crucial mandate molding the youth to become makadiyos, makakalikasan, makatao at makabansa. We salute you for your flagship Dekalidad program. It addresses the mandate and well-positioned the country for a globally competitive takeoff. DepEd's willingness for international scrutiny through participation in international large-scale assessments such as PISA, TIMSS, SEA PLM is a sincere stride towards making the quality of Philippine education at par with the best in the region whilst ensuring equity and inclusivity. I recall being offloaded from a flight with our senior high school students for our cultural immersion in New Zealand and Australia. Yet we are not deterred from this temporary setback, and we will continue taking risks to globalize as you, Madam Secretary, has embraced to pilot the flight. While being a pilot or a captain is often stigmatized into gender roles, you have transcended such and has shown that your role as a mother is not merely a motherhood statement. To inspire for the best of our children, especially those who need it most. To create a perfect environment, but one in which we can strive according to our sense of identity, purpose, and creativity. To globalize and localize. Your nourishing allowed us to flourish. You have empowered us to take risks and given us agency to innovate education in our spheres. For example, in my school's global citizenship class, we instill global citizenship values to think global and act local. Through this, we have brought 400 plus Palawenyo students and teachers to Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Thailand. We learned to celebrate similarities and accept differences. We aspire to apply these lessons locally. Hence, we reach out to geographically isolated and disadvantaged communities and collaborated with the Tagbanwa community to help preserve and promote their weaving tradition in partnership with the UK British Council. Sa pamamagitan ng inyong mapagkalingang kamay, inarugaan niyo kami, ang inang bayan, at ang kanyang sinasakupan. Kami, mga guro, mga mag-aaral, at mga tahanang aming kinabibilangan sa gitna ng nagngingit-ngit na hagupit ng COVID-19 at isinulong ang karapatan ng bawat kabataan na mapagpatuloy ang pag-aaral. Pinagtas nyo ng buong katapangan ang daan na hindi pa nadaraanan ninuman. Baon ang galing na pinamalas nyo sa buong bayan na kayang malampasan ng trahedya kung tayo ay sama-sama at nagkakaisa. Dahil sa inyong halimbawa, kami ay nabigyan nyo ng lakas ng loob na harapin ang bagong umaga na mistulang regalo ng inyong pamumuno. Dahil dito taos-puso ako, kami nagpapasalamat. Kayo ang aming naging ina na binigyan kami ng karapatan at laya na abutin ang aming mithiin at tukasin ang galing na tinitibok ng aming puso at damdamin. At sa tamang panahon, naway aming maibalik sa inang bayan sa pamamagitan ng serbisyo na minsan naming natamasa sa inyong halimbawa. Salamat, ma'am. Salamat, ina. Salamat po.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joshua Venaventura.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, palakpakan po natin silang lahat for those message of thanks. Pero para po sa ating mahal na kalihim, may nagpadala po dito ng liham mula sa isang kindergarten pupil sa Schools Division of Calapan City. Ang sabi po niya, salamat po mahal naming Secretary Leonor Briones sa inyong pagmamahal sa aming mumunting mga bata para sa edukasyon. Mahal po namin kayo. Galing po yan kay Joanna Rose Reyes ng Balingayan Elementary School, Schools Division of Calapan City. At ilan pa pong mga sulat, mga mensahe po ng ating mga kindergarten pupils who have been affected by the pandemic, but of course with the help of their parents and home tutors, never stop learning. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, palakpakan po natin sila at pwede po tayong magkaroon ng photo opportunity with our Honorable Secretary.
Muli po, maraming salamat po sa ating mga representatives sa pagbibigay ng napakabuluhang tula para sa ating kalihim ng kagawaran ng edukasyon. Those thank you messages really touched my heart, Sir Joey. So let's sing the song, Minsan Ang Minahal Ay Ako. Once again, let's welcome back Miss Heidi Corvo.
Ano na lang yung isang sandali na makatikim ng pagmamahal, matapos ang luhang pinagpalit. Ang sandali di naman nagtagal, ang yakap mo'y hanapin. Akala ko ang mundo na ay ahakin, ngunit hindi pala ganyan. Kay bilis makalimutan na minsan ang minahal ay ako. Ano na lang yung konting pasakit kung ang katumbas ay pagmamahal. Pag-ibig mo sa akin ay langit, sa awit kung man lamang iyo sana matandaan bago tuluyang lumisan na minsan
Maraming salamat po, Miss Heidi Corvo. Madam Secretary, hindi lang minsan ka namin mamahalin. Habang buhay ka naming mamahalin at pasasalamatan. And now, let us all stand and get ready to dance together to a Cuyuna song that became one of the most popular music in Palawan. Let's groove to the Soltero song of the province. Ladies and gentlemen, the community dance.
Sa puso mo magsadya ka rin lamang ang
lahat po tayo for this community dance.
Piling ko lamang kanimo iroko imong dating nobra imong dating nobra inulitan kung parte ka na kanayawi pagaman ringon tatay mo hindi alam talaga maski ka kasama kung may kalyon ako takong hindi kanimo mo yun kung parte ka na kanayawi pagaman ang mulolo mo hindi alam talaga ikaw ang mapansin
Sige lang po. At walang aalis po the photo opportunity with
sa mulula
with all of you.
ako ang babay na mirasonable sumado ako sa mga lalaki magatubangan ni sumpa lagi kanalikod na ni minobyaran ni sa gustong hindi ko malayan Niluluto mo tayo ng buwan-buwan Ikaw ko pagkabay, ikaw ko pagkabay Imong rumihan naman
And that concludes our 3-day event. We wish everyone, especially the youth, a revived spirit, safe way home, and a lot of takeaways to share and apply. Once again, Kabataang Pilipino, mabuhay po kayong lahat!
Mabuhay ang Kabataang Pilipino! Before we end to our young ones here, remember that you change to the nation and to the world.
And once again, Regional Office Mimaropa, STO Palawan and Puerto Princesa, to our hard-working teachers, school heads, educational leaders, to the technical working group, script writers, sound technicians, student performers, sa inyo pong lahat ang aming pasasalamat sa matagumpay na Philippine Youth Convergence 2022!
Maraming salamat, Kabataang Pilipino!
And we have been your hosts once again. This has been Joey B. Gutierrez of Calapan City.
And I am Maria Katrina Sandra Magdalene Cortez from the Regional Office, Mimaropa.
And we are officially signing off.